How's it going, everyone? It's your boy Mel Monkey coming back at you once again. And today we're going to be discussing Batman and Son by Grant Morrison, art by Andy Kubert. Let's get into it. The Batman and Son storyline runs from issues of Batman 655 through 658. And this new edition of Batman and Son that I'm going through has a whole bunch of other issues from Grant Morrison's run, tucked into it. Back in the day, I had the trade that just had Batman and Son in it, but now we're getting, Batman and Son plus like the three Ghosts of Batman plus like the Black Glove and some other extras and stuff. So it's gonna be a long one. I'm gonna try to cover it all in this video. When it comes to Grant Morrison's Batman run here, as I cover it, for me it's a reread. But again, like the Jeff Johns Green Lantern run, I forgot like a lot of it. But I remember, back in the day, when I was reading this, I would go on like the DC universe like message boards or whatever. There was people posting like these long threads, like full of theories and stuff of what's going to happen next in the Batman run, because the way Grant would write it, he would leave all these little clues and hints and Easter eggs and all this stuff. So I want to be a little bit more meticulous as I reread this run. I want to take more time talking about what happens in the issues. Maybe some background panel stuff. Little motifs and shit that I remember from back in the day, and we're gonna follow this through all the way through Batman Incorporated and into the New 52. So I hope you don't mind too much. And I want to say this run is heralded as one of the best Batman runs ever. And if you watch any of my other videos, I'm totally gonna spoil it for you. Sorry, it's over like 10 years old. And I really want to go over it with a fine-tooth comb here for this reread, and share the experience with you and recommend whether you should get it or not. But of course, you probably know that you should get it because, like I said, it's heralded as one of the best Batman runs ever. So let's get into it. The first issue of Batman and Son is called "Build a Better Batmobile," and it starts off with Jim Gordon, Commissioner Jim Gordon, being thrown off of a building. And he's laughing, maniacally or whatever, because he's been infected with Joker toxin, and Joker threw him off the building. And then we cut to the top of the building, the rooftop, and Joker's there, and he's beating Batman with a tire iron, flashing back towards like the death of Jason Todd. And Joker, he's ecstatic. He says he's finally killing the Batman in front of all these disabled kids who are tied up to like a Joker copter. But it turns out that this is not the actual Batman, and instead it is a rogue cop, imposter being Batman, and he takes a gun and he shoots the Joker, boom, right in the face, and that is essentially the end of the Joker as we knew him, because a lot of this run deals with the Joker being reborn, and we get like a different Joker, after this. So this is the end of like that traditional Joker, and of course, Batman swoops in right after the imposter Batman cop shoots him, and he takes down the cop, and he takes Joker's body down to the alley, and he throws him in the dumpster because he thought he was a piece of trash. Even though this book is positioned after, Infinite Crisis and the 1 year later time jump, it implies that, Batman, ever since he came back from his little vacation there, has been working overtime. And Alfred says that he's essentially rid the streets of Gotham from crime, that he locked everybody up, and Joker was sort of like the last domino to fall that Batman needed to catch and put back in Arkham. And he suggests that Bruce should take a break because he's becoming more Batman at this point than Bruce. His normal voice is taking on that Batman growl, and Alfred is just trying to look out for him and saying, "Hey Bruce, when's the last time you had some R&R?" And of course, like you, when I'm looking to get some R&R, I'm looking to go on vacation, I'm thinking of going to a fundraiser called Action for Africa. I know, crazy, right? But I guess when you're a billionaire playboy, that's actually something that you would do, and you'd find it fun, I guess. Then again, Bruce also goes to the opera, so who knows? And, before, Bruce takes off for Action for Africa, Tim Drake shows up, and Batman's got the new Batmobile under a tarp. Tim goes to look at it, and Bruce is like, don't look at it, it's not ready yet. And I guess that's why it's called Building a Better Batmobile, huh? So anyway, it's here. it cuts to Kirk Langstrom, the man bat. He's being tortured by these ninjas, and it turns out that it's Talia al Ghul and a mystery little boy who is demanding of Kirk that he hand over his serum to become, the man bat. And so now Bruce, he's in London. He's checking into the hotel lobby with Alfred, and Kirk Langstrom just happens to come out of the elevator, and he's really rattled and stuff. And so Bruce and Kirk, to have a conversation, and Kirk's like, "Oh, it's my wife. I got her ginger beer right here. She's not feeling well." And so Bruce and Alfred get into the elevator, and they're discussing it. And Bruce is like, "Well, so much for my vacation," because he's gonna have to look into this Kirk Langstrom situation. But before Bruce has a chance to do that, he has to make an appearance at Action for Africa, and it's here that he was hobnobbing with all these other rich elites, and all the girls are chasing Bruce Wayne. They want to be another one of the Wayne girls, as someone later puts it. And we cut to a security feed from the cameras, and it's Talia al Ghul and this mystery child again. They're watching the camera feed, and she's telling them, which one is he? Which one is he? And so the kid, he's looking at the camera feed, and he says, "Oh, it's that one. That's my father." And he, of course, he points out, Bruce Wayne. And so that's where this issue ends. It's a little cliffhanger going into the next one. And let's keep on rolling. Issue 2 of Batman and Son, of course, is called Batmans of London. I wonder why. I can't figure it out. Can you? Anyway, it's here at the beginning of the issue where we are introduced to Jezebel Jet, who happens to be a leader of a small African nation. And this is, of course, Action for Africa. And so her and Bruce, they have a little encounter. They're flirting back and forth. Jezebel Jet, she's going to play a role in this run. So this is the introduction to her. She's, of course, a dark-skinned woman, and she has red hair. And it's kind of like the first appearance of like the red and black motif that runs throughout the beginning of Morris's run here, where you learn to look out for like red and black stuff. So Jezebel Jet, here's the first piece of that. And of course, if you've been following along with this video, you probably realized by now that Talia, she got the Man Bat serum, and she's been injecting all of her ninjas with it. So now the ninja Man Bats attack the Action for Africa fundraiser, and it sent everybody scattering. Of course, Bruce, he has to spring into action. And it's right here where I want to talk a little bit about what Action for Africa is, or at least how it's depicted here in the comic book. It's a comic book fundraiser with like a lot of like art pieces around the walls here. And Andy Kubert, he does a good job of like utilizing the background art and the art displays with the panels. Like, for instance, he'll have like Batman, punching a man bat, but in the background there'll be a panel saying "ouch," like a 1960s TV show with the Biff and the Bop and the Bam and all that stuff. I thought it was really creative stuff right here, so I really wanted to highlight it because, again, with this Grant Morrison run, you really want to be really combing over every panel, and I feel like this really gets you in that habit when you see stuff like this. But I could be wrong. Whatever. Yeah, so this issue is basically just one big fight. As many man bats as Batman takes out, more just keep coming, and they keep coming. And it ultimately comes down to, Batman and the Prime Minister's wife, who are left in the Action for Africa fundraiser building. And of course, Batman gets overwhelmed, and they capture both Batman and the Prime Minister's wife. And they take them to Talia al Ghul. And so here, when Bruce finally comes to, Talia, she takes the Prime Minister's wife, and she threatens to hold the world to a new kind of terror. And this is where she introduces Damian Wayne, to Bruce. And she leaves Damian with Bruce while she goes and retreats to the mountains to set off your evil master plan. And, she leaves Damian with Bruce, and this is how they meet. Issue 3 of the storyline, Batman and Son, is titled Wonder Boys. I wonder why. Oh, here's why. It's because Bruce takes Damian to the Batcave and introduces him to Robin. And it just doesn't go well for Robin. Damian, he's all territorial. He's like, "Why do you need Tim Drake when you got me? I'm your son. I'm your heir. We don't need this Robin anymore. Get rid of him." But Bruce isn't having it, of course, and Bruce is all like, well, you're living with me, under my roof. You're going to do things my way. You're going to follow my rules. And this is just how it is. But of course, Damien, being the little shit that he is, he's always going to push back and fight back. He's not going to, well, let me put it this way. He's going to try to impress Bruce in the best way he knows how. And considering he was trained by the League of Assassins, we could just assume that it's not going to go well. It's not really going to impress Bruce, the tactics that Damien decides to utilize here. With that said, Tim Drake, the whole reason he came to the Batcave in the first place was to alert Batman that a villain named the Spook had captured Gotham City's mayor and was holding him hostage, and that Batman should go investigate it, check it out. So when Batman gets there, he finds out that somebody was there before him, and he finds that the Spook has been beheaded. Well, of course, it turns out that it was Damien who beheaded the Spook because he overheard, Robin and Batman's conversation, and in order to impress his father, he went out there and took care of business. But of course, we all know Batman and the Batman family, they don't kill. But, Damien, being raised by the League of Assassins, killing is all he knows. And of course, there's a whole confrontation between Bruce and Damien about the whole no-killing thing. And then Damien, throws it in his face that he was inefficient, he took out the Spook, and now the Spook will never hurt anybody ever again. Whereas, Batman locks up these people in Arkham, and they keep escaping, and, the cycle just continues. In this issue, we also have a fight between Robin, Tim Drake, and the new Robin, Damian Wayne, where they throw it down, where they have a big throwdown in the Batcave. They utilize the T-Rex and all this stuff, and at the end of it, Damian sends Tim Drake plunging down through the display case that held Jason Todd, the former Robin costume, and that is the costume that Damian dons as he declares himself the new Robin. Pretty great, visuals there with the whole taking over the mantle and using the only Robin to have ever died, well, at least in this new continuity, his costume. Just great, storytelling here from Grant Morrison. Really enjoyed it. Issue 4 of the Batman and Sons storyline is titled Absent Fathers. And it starts off with, Batman returning to the cave, finding Tim Drake pretty much massacred. So he orders Alfred to patch up Tim in the infirmary while Batman takes Damien with him to go hunt down Talia al Ghul so he can stop her ultimate threat of a new kind of terror plaguing the world. But of course, Damien, once again, trying to impress Bruce. He tells Bruce exactly where Talia is and what she wants. She wants the garrison at Gibraltar because it's a great strategic point in the globe or whatever. And so Batman and Damien, they get into the Bat rocket and they blast off into space. And they come down right on top of Talia al Ghul's submarine. How they manage that, I don't know, but it's comic books, right? So we get the confrontation between Batman and Talia over Damien. Talia injects like a super ninja with the Man-Bat serum, so Batman has like a tough photo fight here. But of course, Batman dispatches him. And while all this is going on, the British Navy, they swoop in, from behind, and they rescue the Prime Minister's wife. And it just comes down to Talia, Damien, and Batman standing on the submarine, airing their dirty laundry out to the world, right? It's here where Talia propositions Bruce, saying that, they have a son now, they should be a family unit, they can be unstoppable, all this type of stuff. Unbeknownst to, Talia and Batman, the British Navy, they shoot torpedoes at her submarine. And, Talia asks Damien, who does he want to live with? Does he want to stay with Bruce? Or does he want to come back, with his mother and the League of Assassins and all that stuff? I don't know, I guess before he decides, the torpedoes strike, and the end of the issue is, Batman standing amongst the wreckage, holding the cape, the white cape that Damien was wearing. So I guess we'll just have to see where the story goes next. But that was the introduction of Damian Wayne right there. He came in, turned Batman's world upside down, basically almost killed Robin and Alfred, declared himself the new Robin by donning, Jason Todd's former outfit. Just really mind fucking Batman here. This is but it's only just the beginning. It gets crazier if you can believe it. So this was a really great, 4-issue story arc. Great introduction to a new character, Damian Wayne. Uh, really great art by Andy Kubert. I don't know if he's my favorite Batman artist, but he's definitely up there. Another thing that I really liked was how they brought back the blue to the cape and the cowl instead of having it be black. I don't know why. I'm kind of a sucker for like that blue old look from like the 80s and the 70s. But that was when I guess they were using like limited colors in comic books, and then once they got, I guess, digital colors, they started making Batman like black. But for this story arc, they brought back the blue, which I enjoyed. Yeah, with this being the opening salvo and the legendary Grant Morrison Batman run, how could I give this anything but a 5 out of 5? I mean, the art, top notch, storytelling, fantastic. The twists and the turns, you don't really see them coming, but I guess they could be a little bit predictable, Of course, Damian's going to try to kill Robin, but, whatever. You just enjoy the ride. You're along for the ride. You enjoy it. And that's why this is heralded as one of the greatest runs in Batman history. And we're just going to have to see where it goes next time. All right, everyone, we're going to keep things rolling with Batman and Son, the new edition. The next issue here is Batman issue 663, written by Grant Morrison, with art by John Van Fleet. Let's get into it. The story starts off. Well, first of all, I think I should tell you guys what this is. This is not a traditional comic. It's written more as like a novel that has, art that depicts, scenes from the novel. Pretty controversial issue. Some people enjoyed it, others didn't. I'll get into that more, my thoughts on it at the end of the video here. But yeah, just know that it's not a traditional comic, all right? And it starts off, with a funeral for a clown. All these clowns, they're having a funeral for one clown because the one clown died or whatever. And then while the pallbearers are carrying the casket to the grave, they all start to, choke and die. And at first it's really like a mystery of like, why are these clowns suddenly dying? But we'll find out why as the story rolls on. Well, as it turns out, these clowns were former henchmen of the Joker. You see, the Joker is killing all his former henchmen. The clown is to be reborn here at midnight. So when I talked about previously about the end of the traditional Joker as we knew him when he got shot in the head by that imposter Batman, this is what I'm talking about. This is the rebirth of the Joker. And yeah, so there's that. So Batman deduces that he's killing all his former henchmen. And he's using Harley Quinn to help him because she's posing undercover as the Joker's speech therapist while Joker is locked away in Arkham Asylum recovering from his facial construction surgery. Because remember, he just got his head blown away. So Harley Quinn's out there on the streets, doing the bidding of the Joker. And she's going to kill this little person who used to work for the Joker. Probably in The Killing Joke, if I had to guess where they appeared before. Because I remember in that storyline, they were at the carnival, and there was a bunch of little people, and in the book, they talk about how little people had a good time finding work back in those days because they wanted like circus freaks or whatever, like Joker did for henchmen. Because that was just another one of Joker's eras. And here at midnight, he's going to go into his new era. This guy is basically Taylor Swift, I guess. So Batman thwarts Harley Quinn's attempt to kill this woman on her wedding day because Batman finds out that it's when you bring the black roses and the red roses together, there's some synthetic Joker toxin that kicks off into the air, and that is why those clowns died earlier at the funeral, because Joker and Harley Quinn sent all those flowers for, the fallen henchmen, and thus Joker killed the rest of the henchmen with the flowers. Batman's able to put two and two together, so he goes and confronts Harley Quinn before he could kill this little person, and Harley Quinn flees to Arkham Asylum, and of course, Batman follows. Now it's at this time in Arkham Asylum where Joker, the whole time he's been like chewing under his gauze, his face wrap. He's been chewing this, just working his mandibles, right? And you don't know why. I guess at first it's just like creepy imagery, like, ooh, it's nasty, right? Because again, remember, this is written out as a novel. And turns out that he was working on some Joker venom, and when the time was right, he spit it into the guard's face, and then of course it burns the guard's face and his eyes and kills him. And Joker is able to get out of his restraints, and he goes about Arkham Asylum, killing everybody he comes across. Now, I know you guys are smart. You're watching my channel after all, right? But since this whole story is about Joker killing all his former henchmen, and Harley Quinn is leading Batman to the Joker, you can probably put two and two together that this is not going to end well for Harley Quinn. Only she's too lovesick to realize it. But Batman, he knows. He deduced it, right? So when we have our big confrontation between Joker and Batman, Joker grabs Harley Quinn and he drags her like a razor up to her face. And he's going to kill her. The Batman's like, don't do it, Joker, blah, 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 whatever. Harley Quinn, she's going to allow this to happen because she's so in love with the Joker. Because the Joker was like, well, maybe if you look more like me, because, Joker's face is all messed up. So she's going to allow him to, carve her up. And Batman's like, don't do it, Harley, And anyway, when he goes to cut Harley's throat, because again, he was playing her, he wants to kill her because he needs to shed all his former henchmen so he can be truly reborn. So he's swinging the razor down for Harley's throat, and she's, acrobatic. She gets a knee up, breaks Joker's wrist, and he drops the razor. Harley, gets away, and Joker makes for the door because he wants to escape into Gotham at large, and Batman knows that he cannot allow Joker to escape. And so he's blocking the doorway, and, they have like a little tussle or whatever, and Joker gets shot in the back by Harley Quinn, and Batman's able to take Joker, back to lock up and put him away here, at least for now. It occurs to me while reading this story, I'm not 100% sure, but this might be the last Joker and Harley story. Because after this, Harley Quinn becomes a member of, like, the Gotham City Sirens. And she goes on, like, this whole, like, quasi-lesbian arc with Poison Ivy. And then the New 52, I know they get her further away from Joker to the point where Harley Quinn fans are, like, no longer fans of Harley Quinn because they like the whole Joker and Harley dynamic. They don't want this, Harley Quinn, woke Harley Quinn or whatever. And I was thinking back, while I was reading this story, I was like, is this the last one? There might be one else out there, like an Elseworlds or something. But as far as I know now, in the modern DC universe, Harley and Joker, they're not a thing anymore. Like, even in the latest, like, the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game that everybody hates, Harley is just shit-talking Joker the whole time, saying, oh my god, I can't believe whatever seen that guy or whatever. I can't do the voice, but, like, there's this real campaign in DC to, not retcon the relationship, but like sort of distance himself from it. I guess maybe because of like the abuse or whatever that Harley took at the hands of the Joker. But let me know if you see this video, if this is actually the last Harley and Joker story. Because I was thinking about it. I was like, could it be? I can't remember them getting together after this. And like I said, the whole Gotham City Sirens. And then it runs right into New 52. And I haven't really read a lot of New 52, but I don't recall Joker and Harley being a thing there. So, because Harley got the whole redesign from like the Suicide Squad movie, and then it was just new Harley Deadpool off to the races, right? That's what I hear from former Harley Quinn fans out there on the net. So anyway, as far as what I thought about this story, I would have preferred it if it was a traditional comic, being honest with you. The art was like a little creepy, the writerly style. It was written like a novel, but like not really. It was like Grant Morrison like smoked some crack and wrote some stuff down. Real creepy imagery, but just not the easiest like to follow, like reading, because he gets into like descriptions like clickety click tack, the rain, beating on the roof or whatever, and it's like, okay, I guess maybe this is from like Joker's broken mind or something. I don't know, but yeah, I would have preferred it to be like a traditional comic, but you take what you get. As far as the story is concerned, Joker being reborn, a new era of Joker killing off all his henchmen. I thought it was a pretty good story. Like I said, if it is the final Joker and Harley story, it's pretty fitting, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and give it, though, 3 out of 5. Uh, Simply just how it was formatted. You know, the art was cool and creepy, but it's not one that I'm going to be returning to. Like, I'm never going to say, oh man, I have a hankering to read Batman 663, you know, the novella. So, but hey, we'll see what happens next as this review rolls on. Also, I completely forgot a lot of black and red in this issue. The whole black and red motif. Harley's outfit, black and red. The checkerboard lady. A lot of checkerboard stuff. Checkered tiles all over the issues. Could it mean something, or could it just be coincidence? I guess we'll have to keep reading to find out. Alright, everybody. We're back. And with this storyline, it'll be called The Three Ghosts of Batman. Written by Grant Morrison. Drawn by Andy Kubert, comprising issues 664 through 666 of the Batman title. Let's get into it. The issue starts off at Gibraltar with Bruce Wayne walking through a whole battlefield there of ninja man bats that he took out. He receives a phone call from Jezebel Jet, who wishes for him to meet her the next day so they could go skiing. When Bruce arrives at the ski place, he parachutes in like James Bond. He presents Jezebel with a Pennyworth blue rose, one of the rarest roses in the world, because Alfred, you know, he breeds them. And so the two of them, they go skiing, they enjoy their time on the slopes, and, you know, Bruce, he notices off in the distance like a helicopter. So he takes his ski pole arm, and he throws it at the helicopter, takes it out, and it turns out it was just paparazzis. I guess this is a one hot couple. So later on, Bruce and Jezebel, they're at dinner, and Jezebel is trying to get Bruce to open up, and you know, she puts her hand, you know, on his hand. And I want to point out here, you know, the red fingernail polish. You know, always got to look out for that black and red. It's probably going somewhere, maybe. Who knows? Well, anyway, after Bruce doesn't want to open up to her, of course, we cut to Gotham. And when we're in Gotham, we see a bunch of police. They're harassing, you know, some working ladies of the night. They're trying to acquire more women because they have a client that needs them, but the girls are scared because they don't want to go with the cops because the person who the cops are hiring the girl, well, maybe they're not even paying, let's be real, but the person that the police are collecting the girls for, they're a monster, and they're killing these girls, and you know, the word's spreading around, so they want no part of it. But luckily, Batman intervenes. After Batman, you know, fights off the cops or whatever, he notices that one of the young ladies is a really young lady named Ellie, and he asks her to apply for a job at Wayne Tech to get her off the streets, and he gives her a business card. So Batman goes on to question the pimp Deshaun, and he lets Batman know that word on the street is, you know, that Batman has gone crazy. He's killed, he shot the Joker in the head, right? And he decapitated somebody else. But of course, as we know, Batman didn't do these things. It was the first Ghost of Batman, that imposter police officer who did that, shooting the Joker. And we know Damian Wayne beheaded the spook, but of course, Deshaun ain't gonna know that. And I want to take out a second to point out here all the graffiti in the alleyway. It says Zur and R. I wonder what that could mean, or be foreshadowing too. It also took place in the very first issue when Joker threw Gordon off the building. You can see in the alleyway of the Zur and R graffiti. This could potentially be that same alley, but I doubt it. I think it's just the same graffiti tags. But who knows? This is Grant Morrison after all. So Batman gets the location of the monster cop from Deshaun, and he goes there, and he finds out this guy's one real sicko. You got female bodies strung up in like a communal shower room here at this place, and he goes into the apartment, and at first he doesn't see the monster cop because he just sees like this lady who was strung out laying on a mattress, and she's scared that, you know, Batman's gonna hurt her, but he's like, I'm not gonna hurt you. Then he looks up, and then there's a cop dressed as Bane undoing his belt. It's pretty wild. So anyway, these two throw down, and this is the second Ghost of Batman, who was, of course, modeled after Bane, because we all know Bane in the past broke Batman's back. So that's why he's the Ghost, and he's just a random cop who was injecting himself with a venom serum. And so him and Bruce, they fight out of the building, and This Bane cop ultimately tries to break Batman's back again by stomping on Batman's spine and leaving him laying in the alley, and that's where this first issue ends. The next issue is titled The Black Casebook. The issue picks up right where we left off, and now the three working girls are looking over Batman's body. Nobody wants to go and mess with it or touch him, but Batman, he starts mumbling something, street names, and one of the girls, Roxy, she puts Batman in her car and drives him to Batman's penthouse, where Batman stumbles in up the elevator and he signals for Alfred to come and patch him up there at the penthouse because he couldn't exactly have her take her to the cave. While recovering from like the surgeries and stuff, Batman, he has a nightmare that shows Damian Wayne telling him that the third ghost is the worst ghost, and there's silhouettes of one guy who's totally blacked out. Then, of course, you got the Bane cop and the other rogue cop that shot the Joker with Damian Wayne there, telling Batman that the third ghost is going to be the worst. And this is when Batman wakes up in like a cold sweat. Tim Drake Robin hears what went on. He shows up to the penthouse, checks on Bruce, and it turns out that Batman's suit, he had a reinforced spine portion of the suit because of what Bane did to him, back in the Nightfall storyline. So that was the only thing that kept his back from breaking this time. But Tim Drake, he's not going to take this lying down. He's going to go out there and patrol. He's going to find his Bane cop and see what he can do about it. So anyway, when Robin finds him, he hits him with the motorcycle that he was on, and of course, Batman happened to follow him out after he went to go on patrol because he couldn't let Robin, deal with this guy himself. And so before, the cop Bane could recover from the motorcycle hit, Batman hits him with the Batmobile, and so now Bane's pretty pissed off and he's facing off against Batman and Robin, and he picks up the Batmobile, and Batman activates the Bat security in the car and like electrocutes the cop Bane. It's at this point, after Batman is pummeling the Bane imposter cop, and he's about to get information out of him about who this third ghost of Batman could be or why they're even doing this to him. The rest of the corrupt police officers show up, and they chase off Batman and Robin, and Batman lets them know that they're on his list. And Batman goes to Gordon, the commissioner, and Gordon informs Batman that whoever's doing this, they're pretty high up. Even the mayor of Gotham, who, if we recall, was captured by the spook before, is telling Gordon to drop this case and let it go and not pursue it. And this, of course, has Batman questioning, well, who's pressing on the mayor, to make these calls, right? What is going on here? This bigger picture that Batman's just not seeing yet. And so we go ahead and we cut to Talia al Ghul, and she's carrying Damian Wayne. Both of them recovered from the submarine attack, and she's walking into like her new headquarters, and there's all these like, I don't know, like vats or whatever with body parts in it and like clones and stuff, and she's ordering all her people, to do a full organ harvest on Damian and replace all his organs because he's too important to die, and so. Yeah, this guy's basically like Frankenstein or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, so once Damien gets those full organ transplants and he gets patched up, he'll be back on his feet. But Talia, after she gets out of the shower, she's done doing what she's doing. She's checking in on Bruce, and of course the tabloids are all about Bruce Wayne and Jezebel Jet. So Talia's pretty upset at that. We'll see. There's no wrath like a woman scorned, right? Or was the hell has no fury like a woman scorned? I believe that's the expression. So, Bruce and Jezebel, they're vacationing in Venice, Italy, and they're on this bridge. And Jezebel notices that Bruce Wayne is hurt, and he gives her some line about how he was climbing like a cave wall at Wayne Manor, and he falls down on a bunch of crampons and stuff. Because, Bruce Wayne, he's just an action guy or whatever. And, but here, I wanted to point out that, Jezebel, the word bubble, she really, the inker or the letterer or whoever, really highlighted the word hurt. What could that mean? Could that be a sign of something yet to come? Who knows? But, I just wanted to point that out. And we noticed that, the final panel or whatever, somebody is watching these two via binoculars from some distance away. It doesn't reveal who it is yet, but we'll just have to keep reading to find out. And now we come up upon the third issue of the Ghost of Batman trilogy here, Batman issue 666. And it features a future, not the future, but a future. Damian Wayne, 15 years in the future. He is now acting as Batman. Bruce is dead. And this is all about what could possibly happen. We start off here in a church. Damian Wayne Batman is fighting one of Professor Pig's Dolotrons. He ends up saving a young woman, but before he could escape or whatever, the police show up and Commissioner Barbara Gordon, she has beef with Damian because she says that Damian caused one of her close friends to lose his life, and could either be Dick Grayson or Bruce Wayne. It's not really clear here, but I guess both of them are dead in this timeline. Yeah, apparently Commissioner Barbara Gordon vowed on her father's grave, which would be Commissioner Jim Gordon, that she would take Batman down, this new violent Batman who doesn't have the same restraint that Bruce did, because I guess this is implying that Damian never learned the lessons that Bruce tried to teach him about the whole no killing and all this stuff. So he's a more brutal bat. So anyway, Damian goes home to his cat Alfred, and he goes to his little bat cave area. We see video projection screens of Bruce Wayne Batman and Dick Grayson Batman, and with Damian Wayne Robin, which is again foreshadowing here what's to come. And of course on the other screens we see some Joker memorabilia and stuff as he's walking into his cave to solve what's going on, because someone is killing notable criminals all around Gotham, and they're blaming it on him, but he's not doing it. And so as he's sort of tracing the crime scenes, it forms a star, and the star, of course, the center of the star leads right to where this third imposter Batman, who goes by the name Antichrist, is going to strike next, which just happens to be the Bethlehem Hotel in Gotham. So Batman goes to the Bethlehem Hotel and he confronts the Antichrist and his army of villains. Of course, Damian, he takes them down brutally, and when it's just him and the third Batman imposter there, one-on-one, Damian says he spent his first 3 years in Gotham as Batman making the job easy for himself. So he's gone ahead and booby-trapped all the prominent buildings around Gotham, including this one. And he hits a detonator and it sends, the third Batman imposter flying through the window, and he ultimately lands in the swimming pool down below. And of course, Damian Wayne gives chase, and he protects the civilians, so the civilians aren't going to get hurt in the fight. And so when Batman gets down there to take on the Antichrist, the Antichrist guy says he's going to offer Damian one last opportunity to join him and become one of his henchmen and kneel at his feet. But Damian says he sold his soul to the devil a long time ago to ensure that Gotham was always going to be safe. And he ends up killing this third imposter Batman, the Antichrist, who is surprised that he's bleeding. Damian snaps his neck and throws him out a window, and he gets impaled on a flagpole down in the plaza, or the parking area, whatever it's called. And so Commissioner Barbara Gordon shows up here, and her and her police, they shoot the shit out of Damian Batman. I mean, you see multiple bullets penetrating through his body, and he just gets up and shakes it off. And at this point, she's looking at him and she says, "What are you?" So I'm not sure if it's implying that Damian's immortal and that whole soul selling thing was literal, or maybe he just uses the Lazarus pits. Is Ra's al Ghul the devil, or is it the actual devil? It's not really clear here, at least to me. And Damian lets her know that he's the best friend that she's got, and that the Armageddon is canceled until he says so, because the whole prophecy was that the third ghost of Batman was going to appear and signal the apocalypse or whatever. So Damian thwarted that, and the apocalypse is canceled, and that's the end of the issue. And so there you go. I also want to point out that it says in this issue that this third Batman imposter goes up against Bruce, but Bruce failed to defeat him sometime in the past. And so that's why we get this alternate future issue right here in Batman 666. So we're going to have to keep reading to see what happens when Bruce does confront this guy. We'll see. As far as this little trilogy of issues here, I felt that the first two were pretty good. I didn't really care for how we didn't get like a true resolution, at least as of yet, to this whole imposter Batman thing with the whole who is the Bane cop. I don't know. I don't remember if it gets resolved in the coming issues or not, but I did remember this alternate future Damian issue because he's wearing like the Batman with a trench coat that Zack Snyder totally stole for his Batman movie, where you know Batfleck was wearing like the trench coat and stuff. Stole Damian's look, and this issue stood out in my mind. And I remember, it's not that I didn't like it; it's just like it's not really going to come to pass. So it felt like kind of a waste, especially here on a reread. But I guess it does its job to set up who is this third imposter Batman that we've yet to be revealed, and I'm sure it's going to be coming here in like we got like two more storylines covered in this new edition of Batman and Son, the trade paperback. We got like two issues coming up. Then it's the resurrection of Ra's al Ghul storyline, but that's separate. It's not included in this. And then we got like the Black Glove storyline. And I'm pretty sure that's where you figure out who the third Batman is. But I can't be so sure at this point because I've yet to reread it. So I'm gonna give these three issues like a 3 out of 5. It's just kind of leads to nowhere, and the review will keep on rolling, I suppose, huh? Here we go. What should be our second to last segment here on the Batman and Son New Edition. I misspoke in the last part. This storyline is 3 issues. I thought it was only 2, but it turns out it's 3. It's going to take us from Batman 667 all the way through to 669. I'm going to cover this one a little bit differently because it's essentially a classic whodunit murder mystery. I don't want to spoil that for you guys. It's really fun reading this one and seeing if you yourself can put the clues together. Could you match wits right with a Dark Knight detective? It's a lot of fun here, this 3-issue series. It's a little random, though, when you think about the timeline placement, because, this whole volume, right, Damian, son of Batman, is revealed that he, disappears in, a submarine explosion. And so then Batman, he's dealing with, the 3 ghosts, the imposter Batman. Then all of a sudden, right here, he decides that he's going to go on a vacation. He's going to take Robin to the island of Mr. Mayhew so he could reconnect with his former Club of Heroes partners from way back in the day. It's just so random, right? But that's the story, right? So once upon a time, there was this rich guy named John Mayhew who could pretty much buy whatever he wanted. And so he decided he was going to buy himself like a superhero team. And so he got all these Batman wannabes and Batman to form up this, what is it called? The International Club of Heroes, right, for their initial meeting. But of course, Batman, he didn't really want nothing to do with it, so he quit, and that's why the whole thing fell apart. But these other heroes, they went on to their home countries, and they continued, fighting crime in their own way, inspired by Batman. So as far as who these members are, the original members, some of them have died off and their sidekicks have taken on the role. But right here at the roster, we got the Dark Ranger. He's from Australia. We got Gaucho from Argentina. We got Knight and Squire from England. We got Legionary from Italy. We got Man of Bats and his sidekick Raven Red. They're Native Americans. And we got Wingman from Sweden. And of course, Batman would round out the crew. The premise of the story is somebody sent out another invitation in the name of John Mayhew to summon these guys to this island, this isolated island in the Caribbean. So Batman, he gets this invitation, and he can't help himself. He takes Robin, and they go to the island, because it's not like he has enough on his plate already, right? Well, it turns out, Batman's the last person to arrive, and everybody's already there, and they're mingling, and they're telling the stories of, what happened here and there, One guy's overweight, he's let himself go. Another guy has a drinking problem. One guy's fresh out of prison because he accidentally killed his arch rival, Uh, these guys, they're just basically, falling apart. Uh, it's all Batman's fault. They blame Batman because the International Club of Heroes fell apart because Batman wanted nothing to do with it. So, it's natural for these guys to sort of harbor a resentment, towards Batman because of what could have been, right? Their lives and the fame and the fortune and all that stuff. So it really is a good setup, for like that whodunit murder mystery because when they get there, a videotape plays when they all sit down at the table, and it's this guy, and he's wearing the skin of the face of John Mayhew, saying, "Oh, I killed John Mayhew. He's dead, and you guys are next. By this time tomorrow, you'll all be dead on this island." And so then it's like, well, like I said, like who's a killer? A lot of these guys are wearing masks. You don't know who's behind the masks. You don't know who's holding what grudges against who and when and what. And you got to like really read it to find out. Uh, but it turns out, right, that this whole thing is being orchestrated by this secret society organization known as the Black Glove. And they're, I don't know if they're recording it or broadcasting it, but I know they're taking like bets in the roulette table with the black and white, not black and white, the black and red, color scheme again, and the Black Glove, and you see like that John Mayhew produced a film back in the day titled The Black Glove. Coincidence? Who knows? But yeah, as you read this one, and you just go on like the roller coaster ride it provides. Uh, you're gonna have a great time. I'm gonna give these 3 issues, 5 out of 5. Just fantastic stuff. The art by J.H. Williams III, great. He goes on later to do, the Batwoman series that much beloved by people out there. But here he's drawing Batman, and it's fantastic. A lot of great panel layouts showing really what you can do with the medium, with your creativity and just layouts and all this stuff. Uh, yeah, so 5 out of 5, right? But people like me who have already read this before, but I didn't really care for these issues like back then because I was like, oh, this is random. Well, if you're on a reread like me, you start to put the pieces together, and this is basically Batman Incorporated. If you think about it, this is, I guess, I don't know if this is where Grant Morrison got the seed of the kernel of the idea that would later on eventually become, Batman Incorporated, or if he already knew where he was going the whole time. But there was rumors that he was going to stop writing the book until he was offered, Batman and Robin. So who actually knows the history here? But yeah, seeing this early like Batman Incorporated concept with all these Batmans from other nations, inspired by the one true Batman, Bruce Wayne, really put a different type of feeling on this one. And I was really paying more attention while I read it because I started to remember some of these characters from that series. I was like, okay, it really is all connected or whatever. But yeah, like I said, really enjoyed these 3 issues. I'm looking forward to the next story arc. And it should be the one to close out this Batman and Son new edition. So the review will keep on rolling in the next segment. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, we're back. And this should be the final installment of this video, comprised of the final 4 issues contained in Batman and Son, the new edition. Let's get into it. First issue, titled Space Medicine, by Grant Morrison, of course, with the new artist, Tony S. Daniel. And it's here where we first see the third ghost of Batman actually dealing with Bruce Wayne as he goes to the GCPD, kicks the door down, he starts burning officers, and he demands to see Commissioner Vane. But of course, Commissioner Vane doesn't work there anymore, and he has to deal with Jim Gordon. So the third ghost of Batman, also known as the Antichrist, am I right? He captures Jim Gordon and takes him up to the rooftop to turn on the bat signal to signal Batman to come, for a meetup where he plans on ambushing and killing Batman. Well, it just so happens that at this time, Batman and Jezebel Jet, they're going to be base jumping for charity. So they're way up in the sky in a hot air balloon, and the bat signal, of course, just happens to hit the balloon, and Jezebel Jet's like, oh, they really have a bat signal for Batman, here in Gotham? Because she doesn't really, I guess, keep up. And, Bruce Wayne is like, oh, don't worry about it. And they jump. And, of course, Bruce seeing the signal, knowing that it's for him, he contacts Alfred through, like, an earpiece and lets know that he's going to, peel off to deal with the situation and to let Jezebel Jet know that he got like swept up in like a wind current or whatever, and he'll be back as soon as he can. We also learn here that Jezebel Jet's father, who was the leader of the small African nation before she inherited it, was assassinated. And that's one of the reasons why Bruce is like bonding with her so close, because they're bonding in their loss of their dead parents. So, Batman, of course, he swoops down onto top of the GCPD. He sees Gord in, bad shape, and he starts fighting with this third ghost of Batman, who shoots Bruce in the chest with it looks like a fireball, but it was like a grenade or whatever, like a projectile. Hits Bruce in the chest, and it causes Bruce's heart to stop. And he goes into cardiac arrest, and he starts hallucinating things like Zer and R, the letters and stuff, and Batmite. And this is where this first issue ends. He falls down, falls out, and he's at the mercy of the third ghost of Batman. The next issue, written by Grant Morrison and also drawn by Tony S. Daniel, is called Joe Chill in Hell. Now, this issue is mostly like a fever dream or whatever. It's flashing back to Joe Chill, who was, of course, the guy who, in some continuities, I guess, not all, but I guess some, was the murderer of the Waynes. And so, Batman, he was recounting all his training that he did, here at Nanda Parbat with this, and then isolation training that, and over here with the 10-finger death guys, and basically everything it took to make him Batman, right? And in this issue, he is tormenting Joe Chill, who I guess got away with the murder. He looks like he's like a crime boss now. And every night Batman would come and visit him and, scare him. And, Joe Chill puts two and two together that, he created the Batman by murdering the Waynes and letting Bruce live, and he regrets it. He said he should have killed Bruce when he had the chance. And, of course, so Batman, he comes in and he gives Joe Chill a gun, which is the gun from the scene of the crime that had one bullet left in it. And, Joe Chill, he commits suicide, off panel because, Batman flies away. Then we hear the gunshot go off, and, Batman, he's satisfied with what he's done. So as you can tell, it's not real, true events, this issue. But pretty soon we'll get back to reality as we roll into the next issue. In this next issue, Batman comes to. He's in a familiar location to him, but he can't quite place it just yet. And the third Batman, he's, lording over him, talking all this trash about how he came to be and how he's gonna, enjoy killing Batman slowly and all this stuff. And as he's talking, it triggers, Bruce's memory because like some of the things that he was hallucinating in the issue before, they actually happened. And it turns out that Bruce like submitted himself to Dr. Simon Hurt for like a 10-day isolation experiment. And as Bruce is recalling all this, there's like subliminal messages that were implanted in his mind and stuff, and he can't. He's like, well, when did this happen? What's going on with all this? And and he starts thinking, is there like an ultimate enemy out there that he's just not aware of, that his memory blocked on? And the reason why he did these tests was to help GCPD train a new Batman in case something were to ever happen to Batman, because they liked the effect that Batman was having on the crime in Gotham City. So should the Batman ever die, they had these backups. And Simon Hurt would do experiments and stuff on these backups to try to recreate, Bruce. But of course, they're failures in how he did it. And you got like the Bane Batman, you got the imposter Batman, who was the police officer who shot the Joker way back when, in like the first issue of this video. And then we got this third Batman whose family was killed, tragically. And so he takes these three guys, and these are supposed to be the new replacements for Batman, should Batman ever die. And Batman, the third Batman here, he tells like Bruce that the reason that they're all activating now is because there's something in the air, right, that says, Batman might be close to imminent death. And so they're all activating and kicking in and wreaking havoc. And so, of course, Batman escapes the situation he's in by, slipping his arm out of his costume right when the third Batman's going to chop off his arm. And then he's free and he's fighting. And he ends up, defeating the third Batman here. And that's the Ghost of Batman storyline right there. I guess the future with Damian Wayne, where Batman was defeated, is now a moot point, right? The final issue in this trade paperback of Batman and Son, a new edition, is titled Fiend with the Nine Eyes. It is, of course, written by Grant Morrison, with art by Ryan Benjamin. This issue, we see Bruce Wayne and Jezebel Jet going on a date. Bruce Wayne rented out like a whole penthouse restaurant. He takes Jezebel Jet there, and she's all like impressed. Oh, Bruce, you did this all for me or whatever. And you know, Bruce is all like, oh, it's nothing, right? And Jezebel Jet takes this opportunity to start dressing down Bruce about where's the relationship going. Bruce is hiding something. He's always hurt. What's his secret? He could confide in her and all this stuff. But while this is going on, Tim Drake and Nightwing, they're out there patrolling Gotham, and they're discussing Bruce as well. Like what's going on with Bruce? Is he pushing himself too hard? That sort of thing. So while Bruce and Jezebel, they're at the restaurant, of course, the Fiend with the 10 eyes shows up, and he's got like tattooed eyes on his fingers. But of course, he's missing one finger, so that's why he has 9 eyes instead of 10. And so he kidnaps Jezebel Jet, and he's taking her like through the back kitchens as they're trying to escape. All his other henchmen were supposed to subdue Bruce Wayne, but of course, Bruce is Batman, so he's wondering what's taking him so long. And Bruce is just demolishing them. And when he goes in there, Bruce pretty much whoops him. He burns his fingers. The tattoos off his fingers are like hot oil from a dish that was being prepared for dinner that they obviously never got to eat. And I thought it was pretty funny. And he defeats these guys, and Jezebel Jet walks in, and Bruce is just pummeling the Fiend with the 9 eyes. And she puts 2 and 2 together that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and it ends on that cliffhanger. And that's that. As far as the story arc is concerned, I really didn't like the art of the last issue. It was a little jarring. I mean, there was one page that I felt like looked good. They had Bruce Wayne's all in the shadows and stuff. He looks savage as he's beating on this villain, and I thought that page was good, but everything else was just it just took me out of it. Going from Tony Daniel to Ryan Benjamin. I mean, Ryan Benjamin, he's not a bad artist. It's just his style was too different, and but I guess that's the nature of comic books, right? So for this story arc, I'm going to go ahead and give it like a 3 out of 5. It wasn't blowing me away. We did get to find out what the Ghosts of Batman were all about. They were, of course, police officers who volunteered to undergo these experimental procedures so they could become the next Batman. And that's why the other police would stick up for them, because they made like a pact or a vow that, hey, we're going to look out for each other, because they all volunteered, but only some were selected. Others like failed out for whatever reason, but they vowed to like look after one another and cover for it, because it's one of those things where yeah, they're gonna do like bad stuff, but is it for like a good cause or whatever? So yeah, they're gonna cover for it. Like I said, this story arc, not my favorite out of the bunch. As for Batman and Son, this new edition as a whole, I mean, you can't go wrong with it. Really great bang for your buck. I mean, when I read these back in the day, I was a little late to Grant's run, so I had to buy like the trades, and they were like all separate. You had the Batman and Son trade, you had like Black Glove trade, and this, that, and all these like RIP, which is next. But this new edition, they combine a lot of stuff. Yeah, like I said, you buy it, you get a lot of stories here. It's basically like the first third, kind of Grant's run, and you saw pretty great stuff. It's gonna be a 5 out of 5 if you probably saw that one coming, but yeah, you can't do much wrong with this one. I was a little nervous to get back into Grant Morrison's run here, because I personally feel like it was ruined by the New 52. And so when I was dipping back in here, I was like, man, am I gonna like it as much, or is it gonna be forever tainted in my view? But so far so good. We'll see. Maybe it turns out it wasn't ruined by New 52 when I go back and reread like the rest of it. But like I said, this volume, 5 out of 5. definitely pick it up if you're interested in Grant Morrison's run. It's cheaper than the omnibuses, and you can't go wrong. So until next time, I'll see you there.